It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted!
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in! And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes.
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's CFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on CFM Stereo. My station, your station.
A quick glance at our studio clock and it reads 18:07, 7 past the hour of 6. But that's not important because the most important part is that it's Tuesday the 12th of June, 2 days until the greatest show on earth. It all kicks off on Thursday in Russia, and Russia get us off and racing today. We take a look at more groups for you as we preview the World Cup 2018. It's happening in Russia. The team is here to deliver all the sports news for you as per usual here on ZFM Sport. It is Mike Madoda, Mark Pozzo, me, Barry Manandi, and on production, Sean Tafirenyika.
And on the home front tonight, we start with cricket players vying for a place in the Chevrons squad for the up-and-coming series against Australia and Pakistan. Turned up for the Zimbabwe Chairman's 11 and Zimbabwe Select 11 sides in a triangular T20 series involving Kenya, which got underway at Old Hararian Sports Club. In tennis, Takiniga Garaganga booked his spot in the second round, while compatriots Taba Ncube and Mark Chigazira were knocked out at the first hurdle of the F3 Futures Tournament at Harare Sports Club. To the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League, where experienced gaffer Moses Chunga has become the latest big-name coach to be linked with a vacant Shabani Mine coaching job.
In our international sports news roundup, as per usual, we've got a Formula One report for you now. Lewis Hamilton expects Ferrari to falter in the World Championship battle and says Mercedes need to keep the pressure on the Scuderia. In tennis news, Roger Federer will make his first competitive appearance since March at the Mercedes Cup in Stuttgart as the 20-time Grand Slam champion begins his preparations for Wimbledon. And in rugby news, Andre Pollard is expected to be available for the second test against England in Bloemfontein this weekend.
And the second half of the show is the beautiful game now with 2 days left until the start of the FIFA World Cup. Tonight we continue our build-up by previewing Group E as well as Group F. And we also have news of a concerning nature. Belgium's easy 4-1 win over Costa Rica in their final World Cup warm-up took a scary turn when Eden Hazard limped off in the 70th minute after an awkward collision. Will their maestro and captain be available for Russia 2018? The next few days are going to tell. We'll also keep you updated with what's happening with the other players and the big-time players that are also featuring at the World Cup, but they've got a bit of club business to take care of in the next 2 months. Raheem Sterling certainly is one, and his future has been brought into question at Manchester City after him and the club failed to reach an agreement over a new long-term deal. Over to Spain, Atletico Madrid striker Antoine Griezmann is keeping fans guessing over his club future. Will he remain at Atletico or will he be joining Barcelona? We'll give you those stories all in the beautiful game. And remember, we've got the Zolfibronics play of the day halfway. DJ Baz will be dipping into his mix to give us a latest cut. Top Hit Tuesday. Nothing but the hit.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
We start on the home front with cricket players vying for a place in the Chevrons squad for the up-and-coming series against Australia and Pakistan. Turned up for the Zimbabwe Chairman's 11 and Zimbabwe Select 11 sides in a triangular T20 series involving Kenya, which got underway at Old Hararian Sports Club. The first match today, Zimbabwe Chairman's 11, 123 for 9, Elton Chigumbura, 60 not out, Lucas Oluchi, 3 for 26. Kenya 125 for 5. Rakip Patel 53. Brendan Mavuta 1 for 19. Chamu Chibaba 1 for 21. Kenya won by 5 wickets with 4 balls remaining. The second match, Zimbabwe Chairman's 11 124. Tanashi Kamankwamari 26. Rugari Mugarira 3 for 17. Zimbabwe Select 11 125 for 3. Tarisaya Masakanda 48 not out. Brendan Mavuta 2 for 27. Zimbabwe Select won by 7 wickets with 17 balls remaining. After today's action, our team managed to catch up with the Zimbabwe convener of selectors, Walter Chawaguta.
As you'd expect, obviously, the start of a tournament, things are a bit slow. OH is non-traditionally to be a slow wicket, so which explains the 2 low scores. And then obviously the players coming from the background of Pro 50s and the Logan Cup, which is our first class competition, so easing themselves into a high intensity format of cricket. So yeah, like I said, day one you naturally expect guys to sort of ease themselves into the tournament, so we expect the scores to get better and bigger. And like I say, even as we go on to Takashinga, which is obviously better friendly conditions, the scores will get bigger, and there'll be a lot more exciting cricket to come from that. But yeah, so far not too bad. Not too many. I thought the bowling generally was okay, and it was good to see Elton Chukwuemeka, like I say, early on, getting his 50 and hitting the balls cleanly as well. But he didn't do it straight away. Obviously, he got himself in, got himself settled, and then played the big shots at the end. And that's a good lesson for the youngsters.
Guys, I'm a little bit worried that we're leaving these preparations far too late.
Yeah, far too late. But I think you also had to look at the situation where Zimbabwe cricket was coachless. There was no coach in place, and maybe
they could be playerless too.
Yeah,
true.
True. It could happen, but the fact is, I think they were probably looking at getting someone in place as coach before tying down any major commitments, and that might have influenced their thinking. But I do agree with you; it's not the ideal situation, and neither is Kenya itself the ideal opposition to get ourselves. Our lads prepared for the sterner tests of Pakistan and Australia.
No, it's not, and I don't think Lalchand Rajput was encouraged by what he saw going on against Kenya, and even when the Chairman's 11 and the Select 11 played each other, I don't think he was very enthused with the players that are at his disposal, or the players that are at least knocking on the door, because these scores should be higher with the bat, and I think we should see a lot more quality bowling if we are to compete. Listen, Pakistan and Australia are coming in. They're no mugs. I mean, even if they send third string sides, those sides are going to be competitive.
We're going to get annihilated.
They're actually sending strong sides. They're not sending third string sides.
They're sending their proper teams.
They're sending their proper teams.
So we're going to get killed.
You expect to see the likes of Aaron Finch. They're going to be around.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing for Australia. Those guys are big-time players. We expect to see quality bowlers like Mohammed Amir turning out for Pakistan. And you make a good point. Look at those scores. 123 for 9. You take a look at the other scores. 124, 125. The Australians and the Pakistanis will not at all be moved by scores of that nature. They're going to have to get their batting in order, and they're going to have to get their bowling in order as well, in order to actually pose a meaningful challenge.
Yes, certainly. And I mean, look, yes, I agree with Walter Chawaguta. Certainly good to see Elton in amongst the ranks, but he shouldn't be the one we're looking towards. He shouldn't be. We should be looking at new names on the page, and names that are doing something absolutely stellar.
Well, our WhatsApp number is 0731 168 045. As usual, cricket fans, we want to hear from you, as well as the listeners out there. I'll give you that number again, 0731 168 045. Facebook and Twitter at ZFM Sport. Now, one player that we know is not involved in this current series and will possibly not be involved, and I think he's not going to be involved versus Australia and Pakistan, is, of course, Raza Butt. Pause. How big a miss is he for the Chevrons?
Where's he going?
I think he's going to be playing in the Canadian T20 tournament.
Yeah, he's going to be a big miss because he's really cemented his place in all formats of Zimbabwe cricket. I think he brings a lot of energy to the team. He's been in good form. His leadership qualities, I've always said he's a potential Zimbabwe captain. I'm not hiding that fact, that's for sure. So he's certainly going to be missed if he's not going to be available. I think that is a big blow for Zimbabwe cricket.
Hi, this is Benjamin Locke. I'm on the Zimbabwe Davis Cup team, and you're listening to ZFM Sport.
Okay, let's keep you updated with what's happening locally in terms of the other sports. Starting with tennis, Takanyi Garanganga booked a spot in the second round, while compatriots Thabo Ncube as well as Mark Chigazira were knocked out at the first hurdle of the F3 Futures Tournament at Harare Sports Club. Garanganga knocked out Britain's Tom Hands 6-4, 6-3. Ncube suffered a 6-love, 6-2 defeat, while Chigazira lost out in 3 sets, 6-1, 6-3, 6-3 to Indian Jayesh Ponglia. In netball news, the senior national netball team opened the campaign to defend their title at the ongoing Penn Series on a positive note when they overcame host Namibia 52-51 in a close contest on Sunday in Windhoek. Zimbabwe are the reigning champions and they are fielding a strong team led by captain Perpetua Siachitema. On Sunday, the team had to dig deep after Namibia gave them a good run for their money. Zimbabwe's coach Lloyd Makunde said it was difficult to have played Namibia and a lapse in concentration almost got them into trouble. We wrap it up with football news out of the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League, where experienced gaffer Moses Bambochunga has become the latest big-name coach to be linked with a vacant Shabani Mine coaching job. The relegation-threatened side have reportedly come up with an ambitious shortlist that includes Moses Chunga, former Dynamo's coach Biggie Zuze, and former Wulawe City gaffer Darlington Dodo. The club was left without a coach last Friday following the unexpected resignation of Tegshoa Chiragwi, who left his post in protest over appointments of personnel into his technical department.
International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play. From sunny Melbourne to the streets of Monaco, the deserts of Bahrain to the jungles of Brazil, get up to speed on the Formula One report.
Well, a bit later on, we'll be looking at groups E and F, and we'll be talking Brazil. They're likely to get out of their group with a relative ease if they play according to their form book. That and so much more coming up a bit later on. But first and foremost, the Formula One report, where Lewis Hamilton expects Ferrari to falter in the World Championship battle and says Mercedes need to keep the pressure on the Scuderia. Hamilton lost the lead of the Drivers' Championship on Sunday when he could only manage 5th at the Canadian Grand Prix, with Sebastian Vettel's victory giving him a 1-point advantage at the top of the standings. The Briton has challenged his Mercedes engineers to keep working to improve their W09 and vowed to bounce back stronger at the French Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. Let's hear more from Lewis Hamilton.
I'm just so happy that I finished because from the start I was down on, all of a sudden I was down on power, and my engine was saying it was over temperature and I couldn't get the temperatures down, and I just thought it was going to fail. And every single lap I was kind of on the edge, just waiting for that power to drop away and disappear, because it kept dropping and coming back and dropping, and I was like, geez. But it kept going, and it's the 7th race on the engine, so it saw its life, and I could have lost a lot more points today. Yeah, I mean, I think Ferrari ultimately we all know they've just generally had a slightly better package all round. They've been doing a slightly better job, so we've got to do more. We've got to keep working, which I know the guys are, and I think we just need to stay positive. I mean, there's no reason to lose control or anything like that. We just keep doing what we're doing and keep our heads down and keep motivated, keep pushing, because they will falter. We keep applying the pressure. Like, we didn't apply the pressure this weekend, but I'm really going to make sure we come back strong in the next race.
Guys, well, that's new. I mean, the one thing that we didn't hear from Mercedes, even when Mercedes lost races, was issues to do with reliability. This W09 is giving me problems, eh?
Yeah, it's giving them problems, but I don't know how much of a problem it is as compared to the fact that Ferrari has improved greatly.
Yes, sure.
And Ferrari itself has become more reliable. So I think what Lewis Hamilton here is doing is trying to put a bit of pressure on the backroom staff to try and, of course, get the vehicle up to scratch and competitive to a level where it's a lot better than Ferrari. But I don't think he's going to get that this year. Yeah. I think he just needs to realize that every Grand Prix now is going to be a scrap with not just Ferrari, with Red Bull as well, who are in the wings, who've got a car that's actually quite decently fast. But the problem is they're the ones who don't have reliability, who actually have reliability issues. If Red Bull had a car that was reliable, they'll be challenging right at the top with Ferrari as well as Mercedes.
Pause. The one man who's probably under pressure right now is Toto Wolff, the Mercedes boss, because he's got to give his drivers a machine that's going to deliver. I mean, we know that he couldn't upgrade the engine this past weekend because of, he says, quality issues. We don't know what those quality issues are, but he's got to get that upgrade going fast.
Yeah, certainly a lot of pressure on Toto Wolff there. But just going back to what you were saying, Mike, you got to throw Red Bull into the equation here.
100%.
Regardless of, yes, they might have minor issues, but you know what? They are still. It's basically three teams.
Yeah.
And these races are towing. 1 week it's Red Bull, the next week it's Ferrari, the next week it's Mercedes, and we're toing and froing between these three. And I really believe this is what Formula One needs.
How good has Aston Martin come onto the scene for Red Bull?
Huge.
I mean, listen, it's a debut season, in inverted commas, and they've come through with a machine that is challenging two teams that are aristocracy of Formula One racing.
I listen, I sort of agree with you guys, but I also don't agree with you.
Okay.
And here's why. I believe that Red Bull has improved tremendously, but I don't think they've improved to a point where they're going to offer up a championship driver. I think they're going to be competitive, because if you take a look at the latest driver standings, they tell a story. You've got two drivers who are out in front. There's Sebastian Vettel, 121 points, and then Lewis Hamilton, 120. And then there's a 14-point barrier until you get to Valtteri Bottas of Mercedes, 86. Then you've got Daniel Ricciardo of Red Bull. He's on 84. So there's a bit of a gap. It's not too large, but that gap is as a result of those little inconsistencies that Red Bull is bringing to Grand Prix, where one race, Daniel Ricciardo is absolutely unbeatable. The next race, he was actually floundering. And had there been just a bit more time, Lewis Hamilton could actually have done a number on him in this last Grand Prix. So that's the problem with me, where Red Bull, yes, it's fantastic. Aston Martin has done a great job, but they're not quite there yet. I believe that they'll get better, and maybe next season we'll, of course, see an improvement in their title fight. Talking about the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes is leading the way, 206 points. Ferrari, 189. A bit of a distance until you get to Red Bull Racing, who are in third place on 134. Renault is fourth on 56, and McLaren are in fifth position on 40 points. Coming up, we take you on a trip around the world as we give you the news in 60.
Zimbabwe's finest radio. ZFM Stereo.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We start off in Switzerland, where Roger Federer will make his first competitive appearance since March at the Mercedes Cup in Stuttgart, as the 20-time Grand Slam champion begins his preparations for Wimbledon. Federer has not played since his shock defeat to Tagansi Kokkinakis at the Miami Open, after he opted to miss the clay court season for a second consecutive year. During the time he's been away, Rafael Nadal has won the titles in Monte Carlo, Barcelona and Rome, before securing a record-extending 11th French Open title. The 36-year-old, who is scheduled to complete his Wimbledon build-up at the Jerry Webber Open in Hull next week, will hope to avoid a repeat of last year's opening match defeat to Tommy Haas. In America, Tommy Fleetwood insists he will relish the grind of a traditional US Open as he looks to win a first major title at Shinnecock Hills. Fleetwood was fourth at last year at Erin Hills and 27th on his tournament debut in 2015 at Chambers Bay. Normal service will be resumed at Shinnecock Hills, which hosted the second US Open in 1896 and most recently in 2004, when winner Retief Goosen and runner-up Phil Mickelson were the only two players to finish under par. Over to England, Deontay Wilder claims he has agreed to fight Anthony Joshua next in the UK and says it's now up to the Britain camp to finalise the deal. WBC champion Wilder took to social media last night to announce to fans that he had agreed to travel to the UK to challenge WBA Super, WBO and IBF title holder Joshua to become the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Wilder, who offered Joshua $50 million to take the fight in the US, says the offer is still on the table. We touch down in South Africa. Andre Pollard is expected to be available for the second test against England in Bloemfontein this weekend. There had been some concerns following this past weekend's 42-39 win over Eddie Jones's men in Johannesburg, and Erasmus has confirmed that his fly half had received a knock to the shoulder in that match, but the coach confirmed that Pollard would be fine for the second test. That's your Sport in 60.
Fan Zone. Get in touch with the team and have your say your way.
Operator.
0731168045 is our number on our WhatsApp platform. And DJ Bongs in Hillside has got in touch. He says, Spain and Portugal, I am backing for Russia 2018. And you know what, guys? I'm sorry to harp on about the World Cup, but it's just that I'm just so excited. But the World Cup is all about moments, isn't it? Because you think about that Platt goal for England, you think about Ronaldinho over Seaman, chipping him. You know,
the Zidane headbutt,
the Zidane
the hand of God,
the Zidane headers against Brazil in the final. It's all about those moments, and you remember the moments more so than have a full review in your head of an entire tournament. It's about moments. So I think what we can ask is, out there, tell us, what was your favorite moment in which World Cup, and exactly when did you start the first World Cup that you watched, and what was the moment that made the World Cup magical for you? Just let us know on our WhatsApp platform at 0731168045 and read out some of your messages if you can let us know those
let's hear from Paz. Paz, your first World Cup?
My first World Cup, I would say, was
58.
Nice, Mikey.
54, actually. How did you get that so wrong?
Exactly.
My first World Cup that I can actually remember watching was 82.
82.
Nice.
That was won by Italy in Spain.
Correct.
What springs to mind?
Actually, my parents were actually over there at the time, and they went to the World Cup.
Okay, nice.
So obviously I was still here, still young.
Yeah,
and
so you had a keen interest.
Yeah, I had a keen interest and obviously followed Italy and in those days Paolo Rossi and Dino Zoff. He was the captain of the Italian side and lifted the World Cup that year. So that was probably my first real taste of watching World Cup football.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. For me, I think, look, I won't talk about the first one that I watched, but the first one you watched.
The first one you watched.
The first one that I watched was
86?
86.
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico.
Yeah,
86.
Mexico, yeah.
The hand of God.
Exactly.
The hand of God.
It was
Peter
86.
Shilton.
Yeah, and then
Gary Lineker.
Yes, 100%. And then the one that lives long in the memory is Italia 90.
Yes.
That was an epic World Cup.
Yeah, that for me,
Absolutely
that for me was my first World Cup as well, Italia 90, and watched that courtesy of the fact that I was in boarding school.
All right.
We didn't have a TV, so managed to watch it on the old black and white in Christina Hostel at Sir John Kennedy.
Yeah.
That one was a fantastic World Cup. I think you go back to Roger Miller and that upset victory over Argentina in their first match, which set the tone.
Yes.
And then you had
Gaza in tears
after realizing that had England made it to the final, he wouldn't be able to play. Diego Maradona upstaged by West Germany, not Germany, West Germany then,
exactly.
in the final. That was and then of course there was the assassin that Italy have. I think, what is his name again? Salvatore Toto Schillaci.
Toto Schillaci,
yes. Top goal scorer with 6 goals.
Schillaci. Oh, what a player.
What a player.
Yeah,
other messages coming in, Baz?
Yeah, messages coming in. I mean, this one says, this is Mangena Webboso says that 2006 was epic. Zidane's famous head-butting. This is Paolo Rossi in 1982. And I love Maradona in 86. That's Eugene. Thanks for getting in touch. My first World Cup was in 2002. The greatest moment was Papa Bouba Diop's goal for Senegal. Just checking who this is. It's Nolan Mapranga.
That was against France, wasn't it?
Exactly.
In the opening match. That
against
was
defending champions France.
Fantastic win, yes. Yeah. Just going over to Twitter, lots of messages coming in. Good evening to Alex. He says his first memory is US 94, and he says, I remember I got a US 94 t-shirt from my dad which came from the States, but I still say mine is France 98 because I don't remember watching anything yet. I remember crying after the 98 final when Brazil lost. Those are some of the memories.
Yeah, I remember 98 was a good one.
Yeah, 98
France.
France 98.
I was working on the hill then, really? And obviously we we covered all the games. So I was working, so I watched a lot of football.
It wasn't good for me as a fan because I was not a great fan of France, and I'm less of a fan of Brazil, as you know. So I didn't quite enjoy it.
I loved it, and seeing Brazil win. I mean, I've been Brazil to the core ever since I can remember, and so I loved seeing Brazil.
After Italy and Argentina were knocked out, I backed Croatia for an upset. But then they were undone by Lilian Thuram. Remember, he scored 2 goals from right back, no less. In the semi-final.
He was some player.
Yeah, he was some player.
This one says, my first time was watching the World Cup was 2010, actually. It says, I remember Spiwe Chabalala's goal was just awesome in front of the huge home runners, Fimpton in Mutare. And who could forget that epic celebration that our producer Sean is actually doing in the studio?
I wonder when his first World Cup was. Our producer Sean.
Sean
must have been the last World Cup.
Grade 5, 2002.
2002, grade 5, Sean.
Nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. And more messages on Twitter. Forbes Nyakudanga says US 94, Romario, Bebeto, and their baby cuddling celebration. Roberto Baggio missed a penalty in the final. Back then, we used to say, Hans Akarova 12 Okroku. Maradona drug test failure. Who can forget Captain Dunga? And who can forget that free kick by Branco? Brazil versus the Netherlands in the quarterfinals.
Mate.
I mean, what a game of football. And it took something special to actually win that game, and Branco delivered.
Going back to that World Cup, Matiko Machanzi says that my first World Cup was 1994 in the US. And he's not talking about the Brazilians. He says, I liked the celebration by Rashid Yekini where he held the net. Shaking the net. It was fantastic. That's an epic moment of the World Cup, most definitely.
We got more recent fans of football, if you like. Blessed Mashonganyika. He says South Africa 2010, Xavi, Iniesta, David Villa from Spain, Robin, Schneider, Van Bronckhorst of Holland, more final. So, recent fan, he'll be enjoying his 3rd World Cup this year in Russia.
Leeward in Wulayo says, my first World Cup was 1998, Zidane winning it for France. My best World Cup yet. But I still don't have any World Cups because my team, England, hasn't won it. In his lifetime.
No, in his lifetime, of course, England winning it way back
in 1966. And they still remind you of that.
Yes, at least they've won it.
At least they've won it because there's some decent footballing nations that haven't won it. True. Take a look at the Dutch, Netherlands, for all the pedigree, for all the legends that we know. Johan Cruyff, the likes of Dennis Bergkamp, Edgar Davids, Clarence Seedorf. They had a production mill of talent. They've never won it.
Interesting fact, fun fact. I read something today that in all the World Cups, they've been won by 8 nations, and only 12 of them have gotten through to the final. So only 12 nations have actually got through to the final. It's like a bit of a cabal, the World Cup. You don't shock people.
I know we're going to build up a bit later on, of course, as we talk Group E and F. But do any of you guys expect sort of like a new nation to put its hand up and possibly get to the final?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not even a Belgium?
No.
Yeah, I was just going to exactly words going to come out of my mouth. Belgium.
I'll tell you why I don't think Belgium would go all the way. I think they've certainly got the playing personnel. I think they lose it in the dugout. I love Bobby Martinez, but I don't think he's got the pedigree. And Thierry Henry. But I don't think they've got the pedigree to take that team to where it needs to go. It's a golden generation, and we've seen many. You just talked about Netherlands. Mm-hmm. We've seen many golden generations not get all the way. I'd be pleasantly surprised, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I thought they would have appointed Louis van Gaal. I really thought.
Do you know what?
As what?
That's not a.
You know why?
Because, as their coach?
Yeah. As their coach. You know why? Because he won. The one thing you can never fault Louis van Gaal for is his eye for talent.
For talent, yeah. For sure.
If you go back to Barcelona, you know, guys like Iniesta. You know, Iniesta was not actually introduced into the team by Pep Guardiola. He's actually a Louis van Gaal product out of La Masia. You go back to the great Ajax sides. Yes. Those were all built under Louis van Gaal. You take a look at Marcus Rashford.
Yes.
What a player that he left for Jose Mourinho. He stunted his growth. Martial brought into the Manchester United setup by LVG. So in terms of young players, he's got an eye for them. And if you take a look at the Belgian side, it's young stars that are coming through sort of like world football. And I think he'd have been a good manager, an authority figure, because for me, Bobby Martinez, to be honest, what did he do at Everton for him to get that glamour job with a side like Belgium, who are saying, okay, this is our golden generation, which has got the talent to challenge at the World Cup.
No, I don't think write him off yet, guys.
Do you know what?
You're going to say the same about Gareth Southgate.
Do you know why? If Belgium do well, it's because they've got great players.
Yes.
They're not going to do it on the back of
No, you got to give the
Bobby
guy
Martinez.
some. Come on, you got to give that guy some kind of credit.
Well, he's going to bath and wear a suit and stand on the touchline on the day.
That's his credit.
So then why
semi-final? For me, if they reach a semi-final, they've overachieved. They're going to have gotten as far as they can. To get to the final, no, you have to be aristocracy.
Let's ask the fans, guys.
You have the ability.
What do you guys think of Bobby Martinez, Roberto Martinez? Is he the right coach for Belgium? Can he take the places? Gareth Southgate is another one that Mark has just mentioned. Are they good enough to be standing on this touchline for England as well as Belgium? Get in touch with us, 0731 168 045. We'll try and read as many of your messages as we can during our World Cup build-up. This is ZFM Sport. Time for the beautiful game to kick off.
Connect with CFM Stereo via Facebook on facebook.com/CFM Stereo.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZFM Sport.
All right, let's give you a quick roundup of some of the news coming out in the world of football before we get into our World Cup report. Starting with the news that Raheem Sterling's future at the Etihad looks less certain after he and Manchester City failed to reach an agreement over a new long-term deal. Sky Sports News has learned that the two parties remain poles apart on the players' wages, and at this stage, no fresh negotiations are planned. The 23-year-old winger joins his England teammates on the plane to Russia this morning, having enjoyed his finest season to date, scoring 23 goals in all competitions for the Premier League champions. I'm sure the I's will be dotted and T's crossed certainly before the World Cup is over. In other news, Spain coach Julen Lopetegui will take over as the Real Madrid boss after the World Cup. The 51-year-old who has been in charge of the national team for the past 2 years has agreed a 3-year contract at the Bernabeu. The move comes as a surprise, with Lopetegui not featuring prominently among the host of managers linked with the role since the departure of Zinedine Zidane days after Madrid's 3-1 victory over Liverpool in the Champions League final.
Right, Antonio Griezmann knows which club he will play for next season, but he's not yet ready to reveal his decision. Reports in the French press claim the 27-year-old will rebuff interest from Barcelona in order to remain at Atletico Madrid. He had earlier hinted that an announcement was imminent and was expected to end months of speculation at a media conference today. Sorry, but today is not the day. I know there's a lot of expectation, but today is not the day to speak about my future, Griezmann told reporters. Belgium's easy 4-1 win over Costa Rica in their final World Cup warm-up took a scary turn when Eden Hazard limped off in the 70th minute after an awkward collision. However, Belgium boss Roberto Martinez played down the injury when speaking with reporters, insisting the Chelsea playmakers' World Cup was not in doubt.
ZFM Stereo is untouchable.
Jogo Bonito, Tiki Taka, Catanaccio, Total Football. It's a football celebration where only the best are invited. Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, Salah, Mane. The stars come out to play on your Russia 2018 World Cup update on ZFM Sport.
Kick-off is just 48 hours away. The first game will feature the host, Russia, taking on rank outsiders and minnows, Saudi Arabia. And I'm sure Russia will be looking to get off to a banging start and set the right tone for hosting the biggest show on earth, the FIFA World Cup 2018. We've already run through Group A, B, C, and D. And tonight is the turn of Group E and F. We start with E, and of course at Russia's 2018 World Cup, it isn't the most star-laden or high-profile, but there's an argument to be made for all four sides to go through. Based upon one giant and three capable contenders. Brazil will go through, barring disaster. When combining talent and recent form, Brazil is arguably the team to beat across the entire tournament. Let's take a look at Brazil, Barry.
Yep.
They, of course, qualified, finishing first by some distance in South American qualifying. They're currently ranked number 2 in the world, but we know that, listen, there is some algorithm from FIFA that no one can understand, which sees Brazil actually ranked number 2 when everyone believes that they're actually the best nation in the world at the moment. In terms of their pedigree, they've won the tournament 5 times. 1958, 1962, 1970, 1994 in America. But the last time, 1994 in America, but the last time they won it was in South Korea, Japan in 2002. So it's been something of a drought for Brazil. 16 years they've gone, 4 tournaments I believe, and they'll be looking to set the record straight in this tournament.
100%. And the way that they're going to set the record straight is the same way that they've been through qualifying, been through their international friendlies, and that's through returning to the style of football that got them these 5 titles in the first place. And Chiche, 100%. Jogo Bonito is back, and Chiche has brought it back in a major way. He's allowing the players to express themselves, and also you got players who can execute Jogo Bonito, but ahead of that can also execute basic football that wins matches, that's effective as well. So you got your Coutinhos of this world, you got your Fernandinhos of this world who can deliver a result, and then of course you got Neymar, who's an X-factor player. You then got proper number 9s as well. This is a balanced side.
Of course, Neymar is their star. He's of course a FIFA Confederations Cup winner and Olympic gold medalist. He's set to make his second appearance at a World Cup. The PSG star also won the 2015 FIFA Club World Cup title with former club Barcelona. Now, Brazilian legend Ronaldo says he has high hopes for Neymar at the World Cup.
I hope Neymar can win the Golden Boot and the World Cup. I think Brazil is the favorite one. Spain plays so good. It's the second, and always Germany is strong. But I cannot forget Argentina, France. But I think Brazil is the favorite one.
Can Neymar deliver, Mark? I mean, you take a look at the form the young man has exhibited since he's come back from injury. I think he's played 2 matches, lit up both occasions with 2 fantastic goals. Can he be the star of the show?
Can he be the star of the show? This is his show, really, at the end of the day, because this is where he needs to shine. Is it going to be him or is it going to be Lionel Messi? You've got to say that he is going to perform, but I'm going to throw another name in from the Brazilian side, and that's Gabriel Jesus. I think he will have an extraordinary tournament.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's one thing to point out, that in terms of a cast, in terms of backup players, the players you're playing with, Gabriel Jesus and Neymar should be in and amongst the goals, because you take a look at the creativity at their disposal and the general attacking play of Brazil. Chances will be created.
Yeah, 100%. With Willian in the form that he is in, it's startling that he didn't play more games for Chelsea this past season.
Baffles me that
he's in fantastic form. You look at the form of Felipe Coutinho. I mean, my goodness, he's playing with freedom, with a smile on his face, and delivering the result.
Firmino's had a great season.
Listen, it's a side, like I continue to say, it's a side that is very, very balanced. And if that balance delivers, at the very minimum, a final appearance.
A final appearance at the very minimum for Barry Menandi, but we all know World Cups are never that easy. Never. Taking a look at the rest of the teams in the group, Brazil are joined by Switzerland, Costa Rica, as well as Serbia. You should trust Brazil to be able to negotiate their way through that group rather comfortably. Their opening match is against Switzerland, who, of course, the talents of the likes of Granit Xhaka, as well as Xherdan Shaqiri, Stoke City, and right now being mooted to join Liverpool as soon as the World Cup is over. You fancy that it will probably come down to anyone, Mark, between Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia to join Brazil.
Yeah, I think I'll give you my confirmed second place, Switzerland. I think they'll go through.
Okay, Switzerland is your team, Barry. Costa Rica, Switzerland, Serbia.
Yeah, look, shucks, it's a coin toss, isn't it?
Come on,
but I'm just gonna go with Switzerland, just to be with Paz, given company.
Costa Rica didn't impress me in that game versus Belgium.
No.
Belgium could have scored.
That's what sort of made me convince myself that that Switzerland would be the team to finish second.
And I think they could have actually scored a bit more, Belgium, in that game, and they actually gone hell for leather. So Costa Rica, not exactly convincing, but we all know that once the World Cup starts, it's going to be a different matter altogether. And of course, Group E action gets underway on Sunday with Costa Rica taking on Serbia and Brazil taking on Switzerland.
All right, there's a message here that I must read, boys, because it says, I think it's going to be Portugal and Brazil in the final. I suggest you write my number down so you can call me when it happens. He reckons Portugal versus Brazil for the final. I'm looking for your name here. You don't give us your name, tragically.
They'll have to negotiate.
I'll put your name in lights.
Past Spain. That's not going to be easy.
Not going to be
easy at all. So,
do we have time? He talks about Bobby Martinez and Gareth Southgate as well. Just a quick one here. Bobby Martinez and Gareth Southgate are not experienced enough to handle a cup competition that has the magnitude of the World Cup, he reckons.
Will the Pharaohs rule in Russia? Will the Carthage Eagles swoop to victory? Will the Lions of Teranga roar? Will the Super Eagles soar? Or will the Atlas Lions snap their way to victory? Africa, do you believe?
Oh, the biggest show on earth, the FIFA World Cup Russia 2018. Barry Menandi has picked Brazil to go all the way, and at a bare minimum, he says it's a final appearance. Will it be so? They were favorites 4 years back at home in Brazil. They came a cropper against Germany in the semi-finals. Can they go one step or two steps better? Get in touch with us, 0731 168 045. Let's move, gentlemen, from Group E to Group F, and of course, Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and South Korea. Listen, it's hardly what you call a group of death, but that doesn't mean there aren't going to be a few reasons for intrigue. If we perhaps foolishly assume that the reigning world champions will finish first, then the battle for second place promises to be intense, and picking a winner at this stage isn't easy at all. Let's get into the Germany camp and hear from defender Mats Hummels, who says that Die Mannschaft are aiming to become the third team to win back-to-back World Cups.
It's a great goal from us to make it the first time in the German history, because of course Brazil did it in '62, I think, the second time, So we want to be the second nations third nation. It's Italy as well, the third nation to do this. And it's a great motivation for us. It's a big competition for us because every team has its qualities, has good individual players. We didn't play them all in the last years. We played Sweden a lot, we played Mexico in the Confed Cup, but many players were missing, and I think I've never played South Korea, so we will see how good they can be in the tournament, but we really know that there's not one game we will just win because our quality is so much bigger than the other teams.
If we're talking about the quality and the pedigree of Brazil, we must do the same for Die Mannschaft. They are the defending world champions. They are also the team ranked number 1 in the world. They have won it 4 times, 1954 and then in 1974, featuring the prodigious talents of the Kaiser Franz Beckenbauer, and then in 1990 as Worst Germany, and then most recently 2014 in Brazil. They are managed by Joachim Löw. Mark Pozzo, Germany, never a team to be written off, and big game players.
Big game players, for me, finalists without a doubt.
Without a doubt?
Without a doubt.
Shucks. So let's all go home then. Yes. Barry's picked one finalist, Brazil. You picked Germany. It's done.
I think, I really believe that Germany can go all the way and do back-to-back World Cups.
Back-to-back World Cups, and
my man.
If they do so, they're capable. Let's make no mistake. They're 100%. Also playing in Europe, next door. So we're going to have a very large contingent of Germany fans out in Russia, and that's something it's also that tends to help, especially the European nations. You know, they're always at home, always comfortable in the stadiums. But if they're to do it, Barry, one of the key areas for Germany, Die Mannschaft, is going to be midfield. We know that they have the prodigious attacking talents, creative talents of Mesut Ozil, but it's the player that plays behind him, Toni Kroos, who I think holds the key to perhaps perhaps a back-to-back World Cup.
And then, look, they've got tremendous balance. I mean, you look at it going forward. You mentioned the likes of Mesut Ozil, the likes of Toni Kroos, the likes of Julian Draxler.
Yeah.
These are very, Thomas Muller. These are very, very talented players, and players who have ruthless efficiency when they have the ball. Any football team that wants hopes to beat Germany has got to make sure that they control the football. And if they play a footballing side, then they might be in trouble. This
is a well-oiled unit.
Yeah,
This has got German oil all in it. In this motor, this German motor has got all the finest German parts you could think of.
Okay, and of course, the home of the motor industry, some would argue, is Germany. Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi, Volkswagen. They are all, of course, from Germany. So is Porsche, that we call Porsche here in Zimbabwe. Can Die Mannschaft be exactly that in Russia? Well, we don't have long to wait. They will be in action on Sunday, the 17th of June, in the opening match when they take on Mexico. And then the following day, Sweden will take on South Korea. Those are the first two matches in Group F. Who will join, gentlemen, very quickly? Pause, who will join Germany?
Mexico for me.
Mexico for you. And Barry Menandi?
For me, Sweden.
Sweden.
Let's go with Sweden.
Okay. Yeah. Those are the predictions. Keep yours coming in. We'll be continuing with our build-up, of course, this week as we wrap up the rest of the teams for the FIFA World Cup Russia 2018. This is ZFM Sport. Do catch us tomorrow, 6:05.
I'm excited. Are you? We'll catch you tomorrow. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Menandi, out.
Be sure to catch ZFM Sport every weekday on ZFM Stereo. My station, your station.